Welcome back to the J2H channel. I got a quick little fun wrestling video for you today. I know it's been a while since I posted anything wrestling, and it's been a couple weeks since I posted anything at all. So today we're going to look at the TNA Slammiversary DVDs, with TNA Slammiversary being tomorrow in July, which I don't understand. But we'll go ahead and just take a look at them. Slammiversary is one of my favorite events, especially because the King of the Mountain match was like one of my favorites. So we'll go ahead and get started. We got TNA Slammiversary 2005. Apparently they'd been open 3 years at that point. Daniels, Styles, and Jarrett. There's some R-Truth down there. Oh. I want to say that's Shocker. I could be wrong. It wouldn't be a shock. Just kidding. Yeah, it's Shocker. He's right there. Shocker. But got a 6-way X Division match to open it. Shocker versus Alex Shelley. It's Mojo's debut. That's how long ago that was. This is Lance Hoy versus Bobby Roode. Ron Killings versus Kip James. Naturals versus Team Canada. Daniels versus Sabin versus Bentley, and then the King of the Mountain match with AJ Styles, Raven, Abyss, Monty Brown, and Sean Waltman. I think that's what I'm going to do today. The wife's at work, which is why I'm filming. I think I'm going to sit down and watch all the King of the Mountain matches, because I love them. I think they're just crazy and random enough to work. So, Slammiversary 2006. Here's this 05 spine. They're pretty generic until next year. 06. Ooh. This saw the debut of Jim Cornette. Yep, there it is. The Naturals and Team Canada. X Division's ranking match. Rhino versus Bobby Roode. And more. That's a handicap match. Team 3D versus the James Gang, which was Kip James and BG James, or the New Age Outlaws. Sabin versus Kevin Nash for some reason. AMW versus AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. That was a really good match. Scott Steiner and Samoa Joe. And the King of the Mountain match. Christian Cage, Sting, Jeff Jarrett, Abyss, and Ron Killings. This is 2006. That was the last King of the Mountain match with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Slammiversary 2006. Slammiversary 2007. Now you're starting to get a little more creative. I love the cover there with the belt in the back. And Kurt Angle. You got some decent artwork on the spine there. Alright, we got yellow on orange here, so you got the Voodoo Kin Mafia, which is the James Gang and the New Age Outlaws, whatever you want to call them. And Basham and Damaja, which is the Basham brothers. Bob Backlund versus Alex Shelley. Rhino and Senshi versus LAX. Eric Young and Robert Roode. Frank Wycheck and Jerry Lynn versus James Storm and Ron Killings. That's such a weird clusterfuck. Like, one of them was a heel. One of them's an NFL player. It's so weird. Abyss and Tomko in a decent match. Sting versus Christopher Daniels. Chris Sabin versus Jay Lethal for the X Division Championship. Team 3D versus Rick Steiner and Animal. It's supposed to be the Steiner brothers, but I think Scott Steiner had a staph infection or no-showed. I don't think it was a no-show. I think he was injured. And then the King of the Mountain match, the first one for the TNA title. Christian Cage, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Chris Harris subbing for Jeff Jarrett. Oh shit, not even showing you disc art. Look at that. Look at me being a goofball. So, I always like when the belt, I don't even care if, I know they're crazy photoshopped, but I always like when the belts show up on covers. Because if you follow the channel, you know I'm a belt mark. Especially the NWA belt, which they almost never showed on a cover. What a weird disc. Back then, I'm sure they didn't have a DVD team. It was just kind of Photoshop something in there. Oh, jeez, oh, jeez. Dropping stuff, man. Alright, Slammiversary 2008. With, there's a decent Photoshop. Now, if you pay attention, he's holding the belt. You know, sure, he's holding the belt. So he must have the rest of the belt and all the straps just curled up in his fist. He's just holding it. Yeah, that's how you hold a title. But I really like how the other competitors were in the clouds. I thought that was cool. I like the blues theme of the pay-per-view. Simplified spine, but I like it. I always loved TNA spines. I always loved TNA DVDs. Like, I think this is the last year with the way they're 5 pictures and the match listings like this. I thought they were beautiful. They should have stayed like this the whole time. But, I don't know. That's just my opinion. And what do I know? I just own all the TNA DVDs. Black Machismo and SoCal Val's wedding. Gail Kim, ODB, and Roxy versus the Beautiful People and Moose. Not Moose, the Impact champion, Impact Grand Champion. Let's see. Awesome Kong, $25,000 challenge. Peter Williams versus Kaz. LAX versus Team 3D. Always good matches. AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle. That just sounds amazing. I'm sure I loved all of those matches. The King of the Mountain champion, or King of the Mountain match for the TNA Championship. Smojo, Christian Cage, Rhino, Booker T, and Robert Roode. It just sounds awesome. Think about the star power in that now. Now remember, I was never ever a Smojo fan until right at the end of his career, right after the horrible the killing gimmick with Taz. So I didn't like that he was the first person to walk into Slammiversary, the champion, or cat cameo. By the way, I have 4 now, so you might see him. Unfortunately, we're cat sitting, so we have 4 in the house. 2 of them are kittens. Anyway, but I didn't like that Smojo was the first one to walk in, King of the Mountain as champion, and walk out. And then now looking back, I mean, in the grand scheme, did it really matter? Not really. So, decent event for 2008. 2009 will always hold a special place in my heart because I was at this event. It's the only TNA event I've ever been to. Oh shit, I'm going to show the disc again. God damn it. Okay. Alright, so anyway, 2009 Slammiversary 7. And there you go. Disc art. There's my ticket, because it was at the Palace of Auburn Hills. This one will always hold a nice place in my heart. It's probably my favorite Slammiversary. You got the nice spine. Got a weird back. I mean, it's not bad. It's not what I like. Pre-show match, British Invasion versus Rhino and Eric Young. Angelina Love versus Velvet Sky. No, Angelina Love versus Tara. Good lord. The X Division King of the Mountain match, which I thought was pretty good. I think Suicide walked in as champion, and I think no, I don't remember who won. Consequences Creed is Xavier Woods, so that's kind of cool. And I don't know what Suicide that is. I think it's Kaz, or I think it's it is Kaz. No, I don't know. You can Google it if you want to know that bad. Abyss versus Raven in a Monsters Ball. Abyss and Taylor Wilder versus Raven and Daphne. Oh, I liked Daphne. Daniels versus Shane Douglas for no reason. Team 3D versus Beer Money. Always good. Sting versus Matt Morgan. I mean, even though they botched the finish, I thought it was better than what was expected. You didn't know what to expect with kind of a goofy mix. And then the King of the Mountain match. Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe. Man, another one. Look at that star power now, where they all are now. But Slammiversary 2009, the last one for a while to feature the King of the Mountain match. Not crazy about the disc art, but what are you gonna do? As far as the front, not the disc art, the front. Almost at the 10-minute mark, not even halfway through. Slammiversary 10, which I didn't buy. I think when I was collecting the DVDs, I bought this last just because I was so pissed it didn't have the King of the Mountain match. I remember watching TNA Live back then, and I was like, They had the rankings, and they said RVD was the number one contender. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but King of the Mountain match, it's Slammiversary, and they just didn't do it. So, Slammiversary 8/2010, white cover. You got Madison Rayne and Roxy. Kurt Angle and Kazarian was actually pretty good. Doug Williams and Brian Kendrick. Jesse Neal versus Brother Ray. Matt Morgan versus Hernandez. AJ Styles versus Jay Lethal. I think Lethal goes over in that match, and it pisses me off. Abyss versus Desmond Wolfe. Man, I love Desmond Wolfe in TNA. Mr. Anderson and Jeff Hardy versus Beer Money Inc. The enigmatic assholes, but I guess they couldn't put that on a DVD box, a DVD case. And Rob Van Dam versus Sting. Was alright. Sting wrestles with his shirt on the whole time, and then he goes over. And then Van Dam goes over. Nothing to write home about. And this one also was in the Impact Zone, so way to just kill the momentum. Slammiversary 2011, in my opinion, was a low point because it didn't even get its own release. It's in a twin pack. The cover's cool. I dig that. I actually dig the Sacrifice one too, but and then it's, black 2011 disc 2. I couldn't tell you what pictures. I think these pictures are from Slammiversary, but I don't know, man. There's no effort, Storm and Shelley versus Gun Money versus the British Invasion. Matt Morgan versus Scott Steiner. Abyss versus Brian Kendrick versus Kazarian. Samoa Joe versus Crimson. Mickie James versus Angelina Love. Styles and Bully Ray in a last man standing. Sting versus Mr. Anderson for the world title. And then the main event was Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett, which is actually pretty good. The last three matches are. But again, it's in the Impact Zone. I mean, and the DVD release is so shitty, it's not even funny. But moving along, I'm not just gonna harsh on them the whole time. Slammiversary 2012 with a pretty cool cover. I actually dig this. This one's actually 2 discs. The old school case there, I dig it. Like the Spine 2 Slammiversary X. And this one has, oops, backwards. Austin Aries and Samoa Joe in a good match. Hernandez versus Kid Cash. Robbie E and Robbie T versus Devon and Garrett. Devon, ha. Rob Van Dam, Anderson, and Jeff Hardy in a No-War Contenders match. Crimson versus James Storm. Gail Kim versus Tess Mocker. Bully Ray versus Joseph Park. Christopher Daniels and Kazarian versus AJ Styles and Kurt Angle is also a good match. And then Bobby Roode versus Sting is alright. I mean, Bobby Roode's the champion, which I loved him as the champion. Oops, sorry, showed the inside. So, unique cover, I'll give him that. Slammiversary 2013 wasn't bad. I kind of dig the cover because I like to see the title. So there you got the title there, and Bully Ray versus Sting. This one is 2 discs as well, I believe. Just 1 disc 2. And then this man, let's see the last this thing. Kenny King versus Sabin versus Suicide in an Ultimate X match. Magnus, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy versus Aces and Eights. Oh man. Sam Shaw versus Jay Bradley. Devon versus Joseph Park. 4-way TNA Tag Team Elimination match. See, these are my jam. I thought this was really good. Chavo and Hernandez versus Storm and Gunner versus Bad Influence. So Daniels and Kazarian versus Austin Aries and Bobby Roode as the Dirty Heels. Gail Kim versus Taryn Terrell and Last Woman Standing. That was actually really good. Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles again. And Bully Ray versus Sting in the main event. I think this is Joker Sting at this point. I could be wrong. Maybe. Yeah, I'm wrong. It's not. It's just got weird face paint. Decent event at this one. Actually didn't mind a lot of the matches on here. This just screams watch first. I love multiple tag teams and I love elimination matches, so double whammy there for me. But moving on, Slammiversary 12. That's I guess 11. So 2014. This one, I think it was supposed to be Eric Young. I wasn't watching at the time, so I think it was supposed to be Eric Young, an MVP, and he ended up getting hurt. So they had like Austin Aries versus Kenny King. The winner faces Eric Young. Samoa Joe versus Lashley. The winner would join that one in a triple threat cage. So it's kind of cool, like a mini tournament kind of event. I like the cover because belt mark, the name tags and everything. I actually don't think it's too bad. I like the cover a lot. Double disc. Slammiversary 12. So you got Magnus versus Willow, Jeff Hardy. Lashley and Samoa Joe for winner advances. Manic versus Tigrino versus Crazy Steve. Eddie Edwards versus Richards versus Sonata in a ladder match. Kenny King versus Austin Aries. I don't know why this is even in there. The Von Erichs versus the Bromans. Gail Kim and Angelina Love. EC3 and Bully Ray. James Storm and Mr. Anderson. Eric Young. Samoa Joe and Austin Aries, I think. Might be Eric Young and Lashley. I think it's Joe. Eric Young and Joe and Austin Aries. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me. I've only seen it one time through, so. And then Slammiversary 15. Man, I'm going long. Sorry about this. And again, I kind of like the cover on this one too. Again, from the Impact Zone. Decent spine. I like the back too because there's like each match has pictures. It's pretty cool. You got Manic, DJZ, Tigre Uno, Jesse Goddard versus Robbie E, the breakup of the Bromans. Bram versus Matt Morgan. Davey Richards versus Austin Aries. Kong and Brooke versus the Dollhouse. James Storm versus Magnus. Lashley and Tyrus versus... EC3 and Tyrus versus Lashley and Anderson. And then the King of the Mountain match. So a couple gripes with this DVD and event itself. So this match is a winner picks a stipulation for the tag team match on Impact. So why wouldn't the last match just be on Slammiversary? But I don't understand the logic. This match was supposed to be Lashley and Kurt Angle, or EC3 and Kurt Angle, for the World Heavyweight Championship, which took place on the next Impact. Which they promoted both, but why wouldn't you just have it on Slammiversary? They only had 2 events, the 15. And then the DVD, something got messed up in the actual event, so this is the re-airing of the King of the Mountain match, which is fine except for the fact that they don't tell you, and then when they're on the actual Impact broadcast, they talk about how Jeff Jarrett came out this morning, or earlier in the event, as champion, and this is a rebroadcast, and they really should have. It's kind of a mess at that point, and it was. We all know how 2015 and 16 were. The last Slammiversary on DVD, which I actually forgot they released and that I purchased, was Slammiversary 16, which has a decent cover, decent spine, and a really shitty back. Look how generic as balls that is. Good Lord. So you got Trevor Lee, Eddie Edwards, Andrew Everett, and DJZ. You got the Tribunal versus Grado and Mahabali Shera. Jade versus Gail Kim versus Sienna. James Storm versus Braxton Sutter. Eli Drake versus Bram for the King of the Mountain Championship. And not a King of the Mountain match, even though it's on Slammiversary. Why? EC3 versus Mike Bennett. Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. Full Metal Mayhem was good. The K versus the Bromans. Oh, look, they're back together. And then tap out or knockout match, Lashley and Galloway. So, Slammiversary 16. Look at that. 16 happened in June, but somehow this year Slammiversary's in July. Not bad discard. But anyway, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, I'll make more like this. Just TNA month by month. And this one is really TNA's June. So there you go. Definitely checking. I'll check out Slammiversary tomorrow, more than likely. Tonight I'm gonna watch. Like I said, I'm gonna rewatch the King of the Mountain matches. Later on tonight, watch some of the New Japan on Access TV. Really excited about that. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely go check out Matthew Tremble's page. He kind of inspired me to do these videos again because his videos are amazing. Every time he posts a video, it makes me want to go buy all the WWE DVDs, but then I remember how many they are. So check out his page. I'll put a link in the description. Make sure you guys check out Slammiversary tomorrow, and I'll catch you later, YouTube. Bye.